Hey everyone, what's going on? It's 2 minutes to review. It's Matt.
And it's Zach.
Longest album review in under 2 minutes wins. This is the brand new one from a returning Fall Out Boy. So much for Stardust.
A returning Fall Out Boy, because it's kind of hard to believe it's been 5 years since Fall Out Boy has released any new music. Not only that, but this is actually the first album that Fall Out Boy has released via Fueled by Ramen in, ready to feel old, Matt? 20 years.
I still love the name of that record company, though.
Oh, yeah, it's great. But 20 years. That's right. Take this to your grave. Fall Out Boy's debut album came out 20 years ago. Holy cow. They're officially classic rock. Let's be real. And, it's funny because, clearly it's coming out via Fueled by Ramen / Elektra. Let's be real. It's, a subsidiary of Elektra Records and Warner Brothers now. They even reunited with the producer, I'm going to butcher his name, Neil Avron. Yeah, that sounds right. Neil Avron, who actually produced From Under the Cork Tree, Infinity on High, as well as Folie à Deux, pretty much right off the bat. They kind of started laying the seeds to make fans think, could this be old school Fall Out Boy? Could we be getting Dance again? Like, it definitely, I think, instantly got a lot of high hopes up, besides the fact that it's also a Fall Out Boy album, which is already kind of a big deal. Of course, we have to go and review it. But before we get into it, a little quick shout out / reminder. If you want to support Matt and I in doing more of these crazy little episodes, go to our Linktree, linktr.ee/Epic Footnote. Not only will you find every streaming platform that we're on there, but you'll also find some cool merch. So, if you want to support us with a coffee mug, a t-shirt, a hat that says Epic Footnote, that has a cool little skull figure that we created, major thank you in advance if you do go there and buy something and support us. We really appreciate it. And just check it out. Maybe even, for a gift. So if you want to surprise a random friend with a random podcast t-shirt, go ahead. Go check us out. So Matt.
So Zach.
Would you be surprised if I insisted I go first?
No. You ready?
I think so.
3, 2, 1, go.
So, in short, the album as a whole, it has the right amount of everything. It's the right amount of old school influence without pandering too much. It's the right amount of modern flair without coming off desperate to be relevant. It's the right amount of playfulness without being too, it's without it being hard to be taken seriously. It's, got Pete Wentz's quirkiness without being like, oh, enough. It's got the right amount of sentiment without being depressing. It's got the right amount of theatricality in Patrick Stump's voice without it being like, whoa, let's bring it down a notch. It's honestly the type of album you want from Fall Out Boy. One that I'm really going to have a hard time believing that any diehard fan is going to find a flaw in. At least the fans who love the albums Infinity on High and American Beauty / American Psycho specifically. And it's, really clear that after one listen, like, all right, yeah, of course they got Neil Avron back. It's modern, but old school Fall Out Boy that you want. They clearly understood the assignment. They clearly understood that they needed to create an album that would swoon over fans who've been caught up in the 2000s pop, punk, emo, rock nostalgia, who, as I kind of joked about earlier, view that genre as classic rock now, while still pleasing the fans that they actually won over with a more modern sound during the 2010s comeback. In short, while I was never a huge Fall Out Boy when they initially came out, I've grown to love them, and I can't believe I'm even going to say this. This could be one of my favorite albums of 2023.
High praise.
And high praise.
Star rating out of 5.
So much for star ratings. Anyway.
So much for star ratings.
So I'm going to be a little conservative because I have a hard time giving anything 5 stars, because I also am under the belief that sometimes there's some albums that you just fall in love with so fast that over time you realize, okay, maybe it wasn't as amazing as I thought. So I'm trying to be cautious here, but right now I'm giving this a 4.5 star album. Admittedly, I was instantly won over with Love from the Other Side, the first single that they came out with. That's basically Thanks for the Memories' dark step cousin, but it's like even better, dare I say. And then every song just hits the right No, it's what you want from a Fall Out Boy album. I was thinking as I was listening to this, I'm like, you know what? This is kind of where Paramore, I mean, we reviewed This Is Why in a past episode. Well, yeah, it was nice that Paramore sounded like, an adult band and, what would Paramore sound like as grown-ups? This is like, no, this is kind of what I was hoping Paramore would try to do, in that like they capture what you love about Fall Out Boy without being too desperate or without pandering. Like it's the right balance of modern with their roots, if that makes sense. I mean, it really is like anyone who
Hmm.
wished that Fall Out Boy would go back to being full ball. I mean, and let's be real, there's definitely a lot of pop elements on this album, lots, but they were always a pop band in a way. I mean, I always loved Patrick Stump's voice, but I really think each band member really brought their A game to this, especially after Mania, which they all have admitted that they were kind of like, ugh, we just need to be relevant in a pop world right now. They came back to like, you know what? No, we need to actually do what we love, which is what our fans love too. So that's just my 2 cents.
All right. So I guess with that being said, I guess get your clock ready because I'm going to give my review.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Dance, dance.
So I think probably the best word to describe this album after listening to it consistently since it's come out is dramatic. There's so many dramatic moments on this album from start to finish, from the opening moments of Love from the Other Side to the Queen-esque drama of Hold Me Like a Grudge to an almost show-tuney kind of sound and flu game, and then overly dripping with sarcasm in a Pharrell-esque song like What a Time to Be Alive. There really isn't a better word, in my opinion, to kind of sum up this album, and none of that is a bad thing in the least, because what I love about this album is that Fall Out Boy stays true to being Fall Out Boy that you used to know prior to using all of their sampling abilities and integrating things that sound familiar to you from other songs. This is Fall Out Boy writing and being Fall Out Boy that you used to know, and it's a great thing. And there's some other things that have been going on recently for me that really made songs like So Much for Stardust, Love from the Other Side really just hit differently and make you take a step back and really feel like, damn, this is really some emo ass music. And it's not a bad thing. And me being almost 40 years old and saying that I still can relate to the emo nature of what they're doing really speaks volumes, because there's tons of times when artists try to do this and it just doesn't work. And somehow they managed to capture that early magic on this new album.
Time's locked in. So out of 5 stars, Dust, what would you give this album?
There is room to grow here because not every song is a great song. So I'm going to say this is going to be a 4.5-star album.
Also a high ranking and high praise.
Yeah.
So were you as surprised as I was at how much you love this album?
Yes and no. Once I started listening to it and I realized that they're not doing the sampling that they did in other albums, I realized that this is not something that's trying to be modern. Like just, oversampled, overly pop hyped for no reason. This is just them doing what they're good at doing. And it just felt right. Like it really felt like Fall Out Boy, like you said, got the assignment. Like we're trying to be us. What made us? In those early albums, before they started getting bigger and, doing songs like My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark or Uma Thurman or anything like that, like they knew how to write really good songs that people can relate to. And like I said, there's been stuff that's going on lately that really made me think about the lyrics and what they're trying to get across. And that's what this music is originally intended to do. And it did it.
I think you also said it great in that there are so many bands that try to do this and fail. If you think about all that Fall Out Boy have done musically, and mind you, some of the later stuff I actually really do like, but they had every reason to fail, and yet they succeeded. And I think that's what kind of is like, wow, like so many bands try to go recapture that. And it's almost as if like they didn't even lose a step, as if this album could have easily been a great evolution from even Infinity on High. It's refreshing and nostalgic sounding all at the same time.
The worst part of this entire album is the cover.
It's funny you say that because we have done a if you have to pick three episode where we talk about great albums with terrible covers. I would argue that if we did that episode today, this album would be on that list.
Yeah, this is a terrible cover.
Terrible cover. And that's literally the only complaint I have.
Yep.
Even the weird moments like the Ethan Hawke interlude, I actually loved. And I actually was getting emotional even hearing that story. I mean, there were, to your point, I mean, it felt genuine. It's a genuine record.
Mm-hmm.
For as quirky as Pete Wentz can be lyrically, and just even like some of the sounds that they try to capture can definitely come off as quirky, it feels genuine. It feels real. Just like how, like Dance Dance, as I alluded, like when the band first broke out, I was like, oh, I don't know. And it took me a while to really grow on them. Like today, like now, I'm like, man, Dance Dance is an incredible song, and it shouldn't be. And I kind of get the same feeling as like Heartbreak feels so good. Like that song actually really got, for as upbeat as it sounds, that song for some reason kind of got me emotional.
And that's what I think, and why I keep saying that this album is dramatic. There are, whether they're trying to intend to do this or not, they're injecting drama in every area of this album. Love from the Other Side, it's really like, you can think of it in a couple of different ways, right? You can think of it like we're finally beyond, quote unquote, the pandemic, and here we're talking about it from the other side. We feel so good about it. But love from the other side could also mean something to the effect of like, this relationship is over, and I feel like there's, I'm trying to pitch you my love from the other side, even though this is over. Like I still have feelings for you. And then Heartbreak feels so good. Heartbreak never feels good, but I guess it feels good because you know that you're still alive. Hold Me Like a Grudge really feels like if they tried to channel Queen and make a Queen song, that's what it would be. So Queen was the ever dramatic band.
Yeah.
So
even the title track, like the way it calls back to the first song, with the what would you trade the pain for? I'm not sure. First off, I loved that line when I first heard it with the single coming out. So then when it kind of came back in the bridge of that last track, I was like, oh, it's just so well orchestrated. It's like from top to bottom. Like the only moment that I kind of was like, oh, I don't know about this musically was on the chorus to Heaven, Iowa. And that it just kind of felt like a Starstruck Lovers, like, all right, that's kind of an overplayed lyric. But then when the full band comes in on the second chorus and just like full, I'm like, okay, whoa. Like, that's why I was saying everyone brought it, which is why I think it's also kind of sad that Joe, the guitarist, right the day that they announced the album, also revealed, hey, I'm stepping back for a little bit, which, good for him for also sharing that and for like admitting that he needs to like time away. And his statement even makes like it does pain me because this album really is special. So I think it's sad in that regards because you can tell that like everyone involved in this album is proud and frankly should be proud.
yeah, this is a great album.
I don't know if it'll win over non-Fall Out Boy fans or anyone who really dislikes Fall Out Boy. I don't know if it will win them over. It might though, because there's definitely some moments I'm like, guys, you gotta get your head out of your butts. This is a damn good song. Just a damn good written song.
And it's fun on some of these tracks. They do kind of pay. You can kind of tell that they're paying homage to, like I said, Queen, and then Pharrell's song "Happy." They're trying to do that on "What a Time to Be Alive." Like it really feels like we're trying to get you to feel a certain way, and they succeeded. And I think that some of these songs, even though they weren't released as singles, you'll be able to put them on and make some new fans.
Honestly, even just you're saying about tribute, I would say it's even a tribute to Fall Out Boy in that everyone's quick to call them pop punk, everyone's quick to call them emo and emo rock. But even when we were doing our If You Have to Pick 3 episode about the best pop punk albums, we got into the debate about whether Fall Out Boy really is pop punk. And that's the thing, is that they've always done a good job at letting all of their influences seep in. letting their love for the Ramones play just as much of an influence as their love for Michael Jackson. They really don't get enough credit for all they're able to capture within a pop song. And I think this album is proof that like we need to put some respect on Fall Out Boy's name.
They're 20 years old.
That made me I know I always joke like ready to feel old, but like no, that really made me feel old.
Classic rock is not sounding like what it used to. It's no longer sounding like Zeppelin, Crew, and Pink Floyd.
It's Fall Out Boy. It's Fall Out Boy. Not even Alice in Chains anymore, who were like kind of the new classic rock for a while. It's Fall Out Boy. I hate to tell everyone who's listening to this, I hate to make you feel old. I hate to make you angry, but
actually, this is welcome to feeling old. If you grew up loving Fall Out Boy, now your music is classic rock.
Hope you got some orthopedics for those Vans shoes, because I do. Well, you know what, though, Matt? Enough of making everyone feel old. Let's get to what really is important here. The scores, the times.
Oh, I thought you were going to say talking about Flat Feet.
Well, that's a different episode. Because let's be real. We can all, like, anyone who's listening to this for the music also can be like, no, I do have flat feet. Okay. What, any tips for concerts? And sadly, no, just get orthopedics. So as we mentioned, whoever between the two of us gives the longest review in under 2 minutes wins. Matt, what was my time? Where did I clock in?
You came in at a balmy 97 seconds, 1 minute 37.
Oh, wow. So I was under. Normally I go over.
Yes.
Well, Matt, you did better, but not by much. Don't give yourself that much credit. Don't pat yourself on the back too hard.
I will.
You came in at 1 minute and 51 seconds. So
are you kidding? That it's amazing.
You're going to tell me, 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's terrible. You beat me by 20 seconds. Only 20 seconds.
That's exactly how the game is played.
Yeah, but like, don't be like, oh, you bombed, Zach. Like
I said, balmy, not like it's like mid 60s, like light jacket weather. Like,
okay.
No, not like you bombed. Not like you sucked.
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, come on now. Okay, no, that is fair. Thank you for clarifying. I can't hear. I'm old. I listen to Fall Out Boy.
So I'm gonna next time I'll say that you just need to put a light jacket on.
Yes.
And you came in at 1 minute and 37 seconds.
Which, by the way, again, not to sound too old, but put on a jacket. It's still just because it's spring. Just put on a jacket. It's a little windy out.
Take off your pants and jacket. That's all.
Different pop punk band. Well, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you hate the fact that we made you all feel so old for listening to Fall Out Boy? Let us know on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Epic Footnote, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to hear more reviews and episodes like this, including a ton of other pop punk related episodes that I'm sure you're going to love. And thank you to our sponsor, Lucky 13 Beard Co.
Log on to lucky13beardco.com. Make sure that you check out everything that they've got in their store. They're going to make you feel epic, smell amazing. And if you're just getting your first beard or mustache, this is probably what you're going to want to use to make yourself smell just a little bit different than everybody else. If you've had your beard for a while and you want to smell way different than everybody else, and probably the best you ever have, make sure you check out our Lemmy Beard Oil. Bourbon, tobacco, cola, leather. It smells absolutely amazing. And we're giving you a chance to get 10% off of anything that you put into your cart. Use the code EFP10 at checkout. Log on to lucky13beardco.com, EFP10 at checkout.
And make sure you go to our Linktree page, linktr.ee/Epic Footnote. Not only going to find all of our streaming platforms, but also you'll find a link to buy our t-shirts, coffee mugs, hats. Help us so we can keep talking about music and making you feel old about the music you listen to. That sounds like money well worth spent, right? Thanks so much for listening, and we hope you join us for another episode real soon.
Sending you my love from the other side of this episode.